I wanted to start, though, by taking a look at a sermon that John Wesley preached 300 years ago. John Wesley, if you're not aware, was the founder of Methodism, and he really felt that that helping people to grow and mature in the Christian life was of paramount importance. And he felt that we grow and mature in our Christian life through the same things that we can continue to do today: reading our Bible, praying, attending worship, doing those things that help our spirits to grow. But he also felt that one of the things that really helps us to grow as Christians is to go out and, as he said, to visit the sick. And it's kind of unfortunate we've lost something of that need to go and to visit the sick. But he preached a whole sermon about it, and these are just a few of the excerpts of it that I wanted to kind of highlight. At the beginning here, he says, by sick, I would include all such are in a state of affliction, whether of mind or body, whether they're good or bad, whether they fear God or not. Just somebody share, what does that mean to you? I mean, what does he mean by sick?
Non-whole, that the complete state that God created us in, something or something's missing.
Yeah, that there's something missing, that they're not whole, that they're not complete. Yeah, that there's something there that's lacking.
Dis-ease.
What's that?
Dis-ease.
Yeah, dis-ease.
You're okay.
That's great.
It's not just the absence of health, it's much more than that. It's the whole psychosocial, physical.
Yeah, did everybody hear that? So,
Granted, it will be a mental trip.
no, I think that's one of the amazing parts about this. This is a pretty holistic view of medicine from 300 years ago. I mean, he says, anyone in a state of affliction, whether it's mind or body, and then whether they're good or bad, and when he says whether they fear God or not, what he means is whether they're a Christian or not, right? But he says that we should care for people, whether or not they're Christian, whether or not they're moral or immoral, whether or not it's a physical ailment or it's a mental or depression or whatever. He has a fairly holistic view of what it means to visit the sick. Now, he encouraged his people to go and to visit, and they balked a little bit. And they asked these questions. Well, do we really have to go and visit in person? Like, couldn't I just send somebody else to go and visit for me? Somebody else is more caring than I am. If they're sick, why can't I just send them a doctor? Or could I just send them the money and they'll buy the medicine, and that'll help them more than if I went. And here's his response. He said, to send them assistance is an entirely different thing from visiting them. You should do the former, but don't give up the latter. Yeah. And so he said that the importance of going to visit the sick in person was twofold. That the people that are being cared for are better off when we go and visit them in person. They, as Joanna was just saying, they will be healed physically, hopefully, but they will also feel the compassion that person brings. They will feel the love that person brings. And it wouldn't be the same to just send them the medicine or send somebody else. They will be better off if they feel emotionally cared for, and spiritually cared for, and physically cared for. But then the other part is the benefit that we get. He said, you'd miss out. I love this. I think it's the fifth one. The last one here. Even if you could give the same relief to the sick by proxy, you could not reap the same advantage to yourself. You could not gain... And go ahead and read these bold ones with me, please. These are all the things that we benefit when we go and visit. We get increase in lowliness, in patience, in tenderness of spirit, in sympathy with the afflicted. And then he goes on, he says, we'll increase our thankfulness to God, and will increase our sympathy with the afflicted and your benevolence. So, if you sent some money or you sent some assistance, you might gain some generosity from that, but you'd miss out on a whole bunch of other things. He says if you go in person, you get the benefit of tenderness, and you get the benefit of compassion, and you get the benefit of, your spirit grows, and you become a better person by the act of going and caring for them in person. You'd miss out if you let somebody else do that for you. So, you know, the last thing that he mentions, though, is this middle one. This is the one where he gets a little harsh. But he's got a point here. He says, one great reason why the rich have so little sympathy for the poor is because they so seldom visit them. Now, this is harsh, right? One man said, I'm a compassionate man, but to tell you the truth, I do not know anybody in the world who is in want. John Wesley asks, how does this come to pass? Why, he took good care to keep out of their way. Now, that's a little harsh, but I mean, the reality then and the reality now is we tend, in our normal lives, to associate with people in our same socioeconomic class. Right? All the folks in my neighborhood are, you know, about the same range as I'm in, right? The folks that we work with, they tend to be and the folks we go to church with, you know, they just tend to be that way. And, you know, that's nothing, it's just what it is, right? I mean, I wouldn't expect a middle-class home to be next to a slum. It just doesn't work that way. But it does mean that if we want to truly care for folks in need, we have to make a decision to do so. It doesn't happen accidentally. We don't just bump into folks. We usually have to make an effort to do so. You guys were talking about intentional faith. That's what John Wesley was talking about here. It requires an intentional effort to go and to care for people who are in need. Now, before we get to the conversation about the trip itself, any comments, reflections about this sermon from 300 years ago? Does this still apply? And does this still relate to our lives?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some things never change.
Isn't that something? For this conversation, I'm not saying that the only way that you can accomplish these things is by going on a mission trip to Haiti, right? There's many ways that we can find ways to show God's love in action by visiting people in person. But this is one way that I'm sharing with you today. So the mission trip to Haiti. Some of you know that prior to West Bloomfield, I was in Birmingham, and I had two main responsibilities there. I did contemporary worship, and I was the associate pastor of missions. And as the associate pastor of missions, I oversaw something like 30 mission trips. Adults, youth, we even had kids, 4th and 5th graders, that would go and do like a little 2-day mission trip. And we did trips to, we worked in Detroit, we worked in Pontiac, we worked in the Upper Peninsula, we went elsewhere in the United States, and then we had international trips as well. During the 3 years I was there, we were in Panama, Costa Rica, Ghana, Estonia, Zambia. So we made our way around the world. Now, I didn't personally organize those trips, but I was responsible for oversight. And so I got a sense of what works and what doesn't work so much. I don't think we had any like true disasters during my time there, but some of the trips were definitely more effective and more productive, I'd say, than others. My observation was that the three things that really made for a good mission trip was, first, it had to have a mission, right? It's a mission trip. I saw trips where they didn't know quite what they were going to do, and they just figured they'd figure it out when they got there. But I also saw trips where they had like 3, 4, 5 different things. You know, they take 20 people and they try to attempt 5 different things in a week, and that got to be a little much. It seemed like the best trips had a focus to them. And for this one, the focus is medical, but that doesn't mean that only medical folks are going to be helpful. We'll get back to the work itself, but all the work requires a broad and a balanced spectrum of folks and talents.